Thank you, Brandon. So let's just make sure, so because I think it's getting everybody who is actually in the room introduced. So we'll start with Jessica. Now, take the swivel over.
Okay, Jessica Calvert with the Workforce Board.
Shannon Gotke with Career Team.
Chad Spencer with Goodwill Industries of Kentucky.
John Swords, Workforce Board, hiding in Aaron's shadow.
Try it. If I just go like this, then you'll be able to see it. Aaron Pointer, I work with the Kentucky Office of Adult Education.
Jake Brown with Career Team.
Frank Arabado, One Stop Operator.
All right, and Brian Becker, good morning. I'm with Workforce Development Board. Let's get some of the folks that have come online now to introduce themselves. We'll start with Miss Laura. Laura, you gotta introduce yourself.
Unmute.
The ever popular You're on Mute. Good
Yes.
morning, everyone. I'm Laura Torres with Commonwealth Quarters.
All right, good morning, and then we'll have Priscilla.
Good morning, Priscilla Schwartz with Passport by Molina Healthcare.
Thank you. Mr. Bill.
Yes, Bill Sandell with the Office of Employer and Apprenticeship Services.
All right, Matt.
Matt Bacon, Executive Director at Career Team.
And Miss Beverly.
Beverly Ford, a liaison specialist for the Great Onyx Job Corps Center.
Okay, thank you. Miss Amy.
Amy Smith Thomas here from Butler County Adult Ed. I teach here and I also teach at our jail.
All right. And Workforce Mobile, we know that's not your name, but Miss Jana. One pot or unmuted right now. Tammy, Miss Tammy.
Hi, I'm Tammy McCoy, Executive Director of Live the Proof, Inc. Wrong,
So,
Tammy.
Tammy, now your video feed is dark, so I'm looking across the room trying to just see a name and I could barely even read the name, so sorry about that. Great,
Okay.
glad to have you. It's been a while since we've seen you. Thank you for joining.
Yeah,
All right, Miss Joda.
Good morning, I am Joda Johnson with Scott CTC Adult Education.
Good morning. And Dana? Okay, Dana, can you introduce yourself?
Hey, Dana Patterson with the Simpson County Literacy Center.
There we go. All right. And then Sam has introduced herself in the chat, but Sam, if you could come on.
Sure. Sam Mallory from Sky CTC's Educational Opportunity Center, which is a TRIO program.
All right. And Roxana has also introduced herself. I don't know if she can unmute and say hi.
Good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm Roxana Robinson. I'm the Regional Program Manager for Vocational Rehabilitation.
All right. And then I think that gets us to Joy.
Joy Swickler, Hart County Adult Education. Also joining me is our instructor, Dalton Hayes.
Okay, glad to have you all. Well, we have representation from a lot of counties today. This is awesome. So happy 4th of July, everybody. I know this is sort of a holiday week for a lot of people, not those of us who work and press on. So thank you guys for joining. We've got a great topic today, but just to go through a few news and announcements. Did want to make everybody aware, I think most everybody has received a couple of emails that is going to be involved with this event, but we have a New American Job and Education Fair that we will be running for the second year, named the Network Event. We're changing the location. We're running it a few months earlier than we did last year. We did it in November, so it seems really early to be doing it again. But what we ran into was a lot of the participating employers didn't have a lot of openings, and then some of them were on pause until January. So that mid-November, later part of the year was just a really bad timeline to promote job opportunities, apparently. So anyway, we're accepting applications. So this is the ad to say that if you know of any employers that you're working with, it will be in Bowling Green. There is a cost to participate. There is criteria, things that they'll have to answer. So it's just an application process at the moment, but there will be a review team. Some of the partners are among this group that are helping to plan for the event. And then we will kind of score and rate and get the ones that we think have the best opportunities involved. So again, talk to any employers on a regular basis. A lot of the partners that participated last year, I just sent an email right before this meeting to invite you to attend again this year. Focusing again on the ones that the partners that provide services to refugees and immigrants. And then the employers that have good opportunities for refugees and immigrants and people with all kinds of different English skills. So any questions on that event? And then Laura, do you want to talk about, I see your thing in the chat about the next cohort. Is there any news or update? I didn't stick a flyer in here.
Just a quick update on Commonwealth Quarters. We have gone from a 16-week online web development course. We have updated our curriculum and it is now 12 weeks. We are having open enrollment. Classes will begin September 25th. So you could be a web developer by Christmas. How about that? What a better gift to give your family than to be a web developer by Christmas. So if you all want to put down your email address, I can send you a flyer on that. And I would love to come and speak to your group if that's possible. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. All right, who else has news? Updates, events, things they want to share?
Come on, Chad.
Where we just do popcorn style.
Well, I was, this is Frank, I got an email from Laura yesterday about that, just to remind everybody about the Commonwealth Coders Camp that's ongoing. I was going to send that out, but I want to add the dates that are still available for those Commonwealth Coder camps. Apparently the flyer that I got didn't have those on it, but I'll update the flyer to show that those dates that are still upcoming. There are one week in duration, but again, I'll update the flyer with the dates on that Commonwealth Coder camp for everybody, and I'll send it out today.
10 through 14-year-old.
Yeah, Frank, I think you're referring to the summer camp for youth for 6th to 10th graders. Yep, there's 1 week that's left and we are still enrolling for that. That's July 10th. So that's a youth computer summer camp. And then I have the upcoming adult 12-week web development course that begins September 25th. So it's 2 different courses.
And Laura, why don't you tell us how, because there's been several weeks of that have already happened. Why don't you give us a quick update on how that's gone? This was the first time doing that.
Definitely. Over at Bristol Elementary, we had 20 participants. And at Jennings Creek, we had 17 participants. And then we have our upcoming camp at the WKU Innovation Center. So at Jennings Creek, it was on site at the elementary school. So we were able to take advantage of the summer camp that was already ongoing. And students were chosen based on their academic excellence and just their attendance and punctuality during the summer camp. So they were rewarded by learning how to code. And they all created their 1-page website coded from scratch. And it was a bit of a challenge, I will admit, just because we had some students that had limited English skills, but it was eye-opening because they were able to follow direction and follow what was on the board. And they did quite well with adding just different functionality to their webpage. So I was very amazed at, with their dedication on learning coding. So it was lots of fun.
Great. What are the dates for the youth camp that's coming up?
The one that's coming up, enrollment is open. It begins July 10th and it's going up until the 14th. It's from 9 to 12 and it's at the WKU Innovation Center. And tuition is $239 per student. So they'll learn the basics of HTML, CSS, which is in every website out there. And then we will do a bit of introduction to JavaScript. So at the end of the camp, they will have a one-page website that's about them, their sports, activities, extracurricular activities, their favorite colors, favorite food. They'll be able to add functionality, download images, and make web links as well if they want to go in that deep into coding.
Right, who else has news to share? Nobody else? Quiet summer? We have one other important person we failed to get introduced to the group, Duranda. We have never called it. We just like always overlook getting you to call yourself and get attention to yourself. But you are the mastermind behind this meeting, making sure everybody gets in and recording. So tell everybody who you are.
Brian, you are the mastermind.
Oh.
But I'm Duranda Hawthorne with the South Central Workforce Development Board.
All right. And I think the next thing, make sure my controls are working here. Okay, just a plug, shameless plug. South Central Workforce Board organizes this meeting. Why not say follow us on our social media? Leslie's not here, so speaking on her behalf, but I'm pretty sure most of you guys are probably following us, and we have several channels, of course. We do have a YouTube video, our YouTube channel, Instagram. We have TikTok. I don't even know if we have TikTok. I don't think we do, but Facebook is really our main one where we put a lot of content, and then the Career Center, we'll push out things from that as well. But a plug for Frank that if you do have news and announcements, you can get those to him, and he will get those sent out. John, would this be a fair opportunity to talk about the paperwork that just got submitted yesterday afternoon for the grant opportunity and kind of run that idea by everybody and kind of what we're hoping to see happen? Maybe there's some pressure we can put on anybody with.
You're putting pressure on me.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, I'm working on I've got a couple of grants that are in the works that have been submitted. You know, one of the grants that that we submitted, the general idea is that as I've gone out and developed relationships and worked with a lot of our different partners, especially on the governmental side, you know, the common refrain is if only more people knew about who we are, what we did, what services we had to offer. And it's quite apparent that we just don't market ourselves very well at all. And so one of my grants that I've submitted is really along the lines of marketing. Can we activate Leslie on behalf of a lot of our partners to better market and outreach the activities and services that we provide? And so we'll see where that goes. I love the idea. But you know, we'll see how that's received with the folks that are going to look at it. But we certainly have got to do a better job of telling people about the services that we have. Goodwill, you guys do a good job.
No, we don't.
Well,
everybody knows about our retail operation. The career services side, we're trying to grow that footprint, but
well, I mean, well, hey, well, if I get approved for this, we'll pull Goodwill into it. But you know, we would love to have partnership with Adult Ed and Office of Vocational Rehab and Farm Workers Program and anybody else, because the law does permit outreach and marketing. It does. And I've kind of laid all that out in the grant request. It's just, we got to do it. That's just the bottom line. We got to do it. And we can't be afraid. We can't be afraid to do marketing and outreach. It's really just informing the public of who we are, what we do, what services you can connect to. I think of it as more like a way to unify the workforce system. Rather, it doesn't all have to be physically inside a career center. It can be done online through a marketing effort. And so that's the idea.
Yep. So yeah, just to be clear, it wouldn't try to take away any individualism. Like if somebody's running their own Facebook page, like a local adult ed program, it's just Problem with Facebook is you got to know about that resource and follow them in order to see any of the feed coming in. So it's those paid ads that get your attention. And if you're like me and you're like, what is this crap? How does Facebook want me to look at this? Right? There's all kinds of algorithms going on where somebody paid money to have me, look at that. And isn't it scary how many times you just say something to somebody and next thing you know, that thing pops up? Somebody say car wash right now, right? Like I just did. I'm gonna have a car wash ad show up on my Facebook feed next time I go look at it. It's crazy, but that's the thing is we need a campaign, we need a mechanism, and it's an umbrella thing that could promote everybody. But I mean, we could even have local stories, local staff talk about the uniqueness, and I think this is happening at the local level as best everybody can do on their social media, including the board. But there's still people that don't know about us. They don't know, what we're about. They don't know what you're about. And so this would be a campaign to do that. Short of trying to go with like some kind of injury lawyer. Because I think if we partner with an injury lawyer, I think we'd get our service named up anymore. But anyway,
I think Brian should stand out on the corner with the spinning sign.
Yeah, no, I used to joke about that at adult ed, believe me. Yeah, I'd be like, I can't be on this meeting anymore. I gotta go outside and spin the sign some more. That's what our state office pretty much expected me to do, was promote your services. Like, what tools are you giving me? And that's the argument we're making, that they don't give us tools. We can't lean as much on a lot of the state entities. And if you're just a local nonprofit, you've got even less reach and pull and have to spend your own, enthusiasm and excitement online to get people to pay attention to you. So anyway, this would be a way to say, let's put some marketing dollars, let this grant pay for that feed and that campaign to happen. So fingers crossed. If you know anybody up in Frankfurt and say, well, this would be a good idea. We got a few letters of support. So thank you guys that submitted those. And hopefully we'll hear something in the next month or so. That can be a reality. So, all right. Well, we're going to jump in to the topic now of putting Kentuckians first. So if you've never heard of this before, you will definitely know all about it by the time we get done. And some of you are very, very involved with it. So I'm going to turn things over now. Quick introduction for Aaron Pointer, new director of Putting Kentuckians First and Reentry Branch with the Office of Adult Education. That's a nice wordy title.
It is.
Welcome to it.
Yeah.
Welcome to wordy titles.
Yeah. My business card is like, it's a fold out,
Yep. And then we'll probably have some as available color commentary from Janet as well. But this is really talking about how their positions have morphed and kind of what the future of that efforts that started over 3 years ago, and what that looks like today. So take it away, Mr. Aaron.
So yeah, I've been in my new role since May the 1st. And really to think about where we were to where we are now to where we're going. I was talking before the meeting. I had a conversation with a guy and it took about an hour. So I promise I'm not going to talk for about an hour, but I wanted to highlight that just a very few years ago, this branch didn't exist. Our jobs didn't exist, and it was an idea really kind of based on access to the justice involved population at that local level. And so I'll give you kind of the 10,000 foot view of our mission statement. And luckily, Ms. Joda is familiar. We just launched in Barron County, Roxana, Ms. Joy. So we have individuals that are familiar with the process, with what we're doing online right now. And it was awesome, right? So we looked at kind of the justice involved population, and then we started thinking about the local county attorney's offices and how literally everything goes through the local county attorney's office. Not just your criminal charges, but estates, child support, people that just don't have anywhere else to go sometimes will stumble in there. And I guess when thinking about it, you think, oh, reentry, all this other stuff is very targeted just at jails. But oftentimes individuals at the DOC level, at that state corrections level, they have a lot of resources that people at the local level do not, right? So that was kind of the first look at it. It was like, okay, there might be something to this. And then, so when I started a few years ago, I was given about a page job description that handled everything about the first day, right? And so we had to start thinking about, get partner with the county attorney, get referrals from the judicial system and get people back to work. And that seemed easy. It was not, because they'd be like, yeah, I need a job, but I need an ID, or I need I need housing, I need recovery resources, right? I'm in whatever kind of situation. People saying like, I can't go to work, right? I'm on disability. I'm waiting for my disability. I'm in this kind of odd situation in their life. And at the same time, you have the judicial system that's saying, you need to pay your fines and fees. You need to do, court ordered classes. And then they're thinking, where do I go to get these classes done? What do I do? And then so what happens, and this is the judicial system as just a cycle in itself, they would not be able to do it. And they would go back to jail, and they would get more fees, fines, costs. They would get into farther trouble, and maybe a speeding ticket, or maybe child support that you were $500 behind. You're now $1,500 behind, or you've now got a couple thousand in fees and costs to the county. And that was something that was like, okay, we've got to change this. We've got to see what's going on. And so we started to grow our community network very locally, and started to do a really good job. That was the thing. It was very targeted, very intentional. The KWIB, the Kentucky Workforce Innovation Board, looked down and was like, hey, can you put this into best practices? And I was like, sure, I can talk about it all day. And we did. And then they said, well, can you launch this as a best practices as putting Kentuckians first? And I was like, yeah, we can. And so we started county by county, getting the partners, many of you all, like I said, that are familiar with it, were on this team, and taking a very task force approach to this. And so what we would do is get the local, regional, and state partners and really just align those resources, right? I used the example at a conference a couple months ago that you wouldn't hire a plumber to build your entire house. And that was something that traditionally was trying to be done. You were hiring, they were going to certain organizations or certain services for certain services, and that wasn't their area of expertise, right? I'll give you a really good example, and I think this will resonate with people, but individuals that may be coming through the recovery system, right? They may not have had a job for 2 or 3, 10 years. But somehow they go through and they will graduate from a recovery program, which is awesome. And I applaud that every single day. But then they're then employed to be a career manager or something for individuals that are not so recently displaced from the same situation. And that was something I was like, well, we can build that up. We can support those efforts. We want them to have jobs. We want to support the recovery, but there are experts that are sitting here in this room right now that are chomping at the bit. Goodwill has career managers that are ready, that have had training, that are targeted, that it's not going to cost a thing to go in and really do the help, and let them expend their resources. Let those recovery centers, let those other organizations expend their resources instead of trying to stretch so thin, to be very targeted in their area of expertise and do what they do best, but then also walk shoulder to shoulder with other experts working with the same person. So that was something that we really, really took a heavy hand in, and that's what we want to do. And it's been very, very successful. So with that, we also started to partner with jails because we know it has been proven that offering training and education opportunities, whether it's vocational in nature or whether it's just, hey, an educational meeting to say, this is what's out there and this is what's available once you're released to help you along that road. We do that as well. Miss Amy Thomas, we just launched in Butler County pre-release classes, and Chad goes, and it's awesome. That's the thing that we really see a lot of impact on that pays off, because these individuals that are sitting there that may have been in a cycle that may not know there is options in Butler County, right? There's stuff that Amy can do that I may have not ever had a conversation with her about, right?
And Aaron, can I chime in just for a second?
Yes.
And
good.
I appreciate you and Jana for all that you've done. That has helped our inmates so much. And I really, truly appreciate all the meetings that we've been having to help them with pre-release information. So thank you so much.
100%. And the thing is, and this is what's going to be fun, is everything I'm talking about today builds a bigger house, and then I'll talk about towards the end. But that's absolutely it. That's the first step in. Warren County just launched their pre-release meetings just a couple weeks ago, right? So we're ahead of the game in Butler County, right? We've reached out to a couple other counties, and that's what we want to do. And so I'm literally, I mean, fingers crossed, and everybody say a prayer. I'm about to graduate next Thursday. 100% of the people that went into a detention center training certificate program, Thursday, I will graduate 100%, and I will have 100% employment outcome for them Thursday afternoon. That's the thing. And those same people, like I was saying, actually, I got to tell you a story. I'm a big storyteller. This will blow your mind, right? So, person that went through our first cohort in 2021 now has gotten out. He's got working at the same employer. He's making upwards almost $30 an hour. He just bought a house, like literally like 2 days ago, from the director of Workforce Solutions that, of course, they sponsor and did the training at Somerset Community College. They own privately, you know, some property and things like that, but he just bought a house with his wife. That is 100%. We watched ladies walk out of jail, and I said, ladies coming from a welding cohort with 10, 12,000 bucks. It's awesome, you know, and that's something that like we had struggles paying for, and we were like, this is working, this is good stuff. Guess what? I'm paying for it now through my new branch, and we want to continue to that. We want to spread that here. So the Workforce Board isn't using their WIOA dollars to do it, so they can help other people, and we can again be the experts in our craft and do it because it pays off. They're getting 5 and 6 certifications. So the tide just rises all the boats. So that's what we did. And that again is a build off of pre-release classes. That's how this started. We started with a pre-release class, and that jailer seen the value and said, you know what, I think we can do a little bit more. I know what, I think instead of just doing the certifications, now we can do a work release program where the jail is now making money. So it's an economic engine. Employer engagement, we're going to work, I just wrote our strategic plan, so I know all this by heart, but we're going to work really closely with employers and the business service team. And we're going to identify Second Chance Friendly. That's a kind of a big targeted thing, but we're going to really be intentional and targeted about, you know, the people that we're sending and the education, and if they need to go through RISE, and if they need to go through and get their GED, and if we need to come together and figure something out to make the best possible candidates for those employers. So moving on to the second side of it, of this slide here is that's what we are doing, and I'll talk about it in a second too, but we're hiring for a couple spots to continue to do this, right? It works. Having intentionality and being targeted in the work that we do pays off dividends, right? And so we've launched Putting Kentuckians First in Barron, Hart, Metcalf. I have got, oh, there we go. Yeah, see, there we go. The green is where we are rocking and rolling. We're live and in color there. Everywhere else that you see, and I know we're going up to Clark and Hardin County, but those are on tap. And really the only reason those are yellow is because we've got to hire the staff to help support this, because it is a full-time job. Jana does an amazing job of helping collaborate between the partners. If you'll look over towards Laurel County, I'll give a shout out to Goodwill and how well that partnership looks over there. We are funneling people to their center in Corbin. We've done such a good job funneling people to their center in Corbin. They don't have staff to come to the meetings that we have to do it because they are so full. And they're like, we'll update you when we can update you, but we can't be at the meetings. And I'm like, hey, that's fine. That's totally fine. And that same look can be over here, right? In Warren, in Edmondson, in Butler counties, we can do those same things. And so That's our target. That's what we're doing. We're going to expand county by county. The great thing is this has the support of the state. Like I said, they gave me a whole branch. I don't know if they do what they was doing when they did that, but they gave me a whole branch. We've got funding. We have got the capacity to do outreach and to do some of that marketing and to really build up. And what we want to do is not come into a county and kick the door in and say, this is what we're going to do. I want to build up what's already there. And if it makes sense, then it makes sense. How can we support the reentry efforts going in? We didn't go into Butler County and rewrite how Amy did her thing. We said, hey, do you think this is going to help? Can we do this and help you? And one thing I really do want to hit and talk about, because we all are partners, is we want it to be a retention tool for you all in your organizations as well. I want the people that are going to adult ed that may be having food insecurity, you know, that could definitely affect them making appointments or them coming through and finishing that GED or making their meetings. I want the people that, you know, they may walk through your door and be suffering from addiction. That's something that we've got to get addressed. And so I didn't really go into all the task force partners, but I will. That's what we call it, a task force, because it sounds cool. You know, but we have behavioral health, you know, we have behavioral health partner that sits on the task force, that sits every single week, and we go through and we say, hey, you know, is this person, is Chad Spencer, is he ready to go to the next step, or does he still have some stuff that he needs to work on that mental, on that behavioral, on that substance abuse side of the house? And if he does, okay, let's give him his time. Let's make sure that he's judicially supported. Let's make sure that he's organizationally supported to take care of the business he's got to attend to. And then let's move on down the line, right? Actually, I see this right, or let me finish this, and I got another point to make for Samantha, actually. But we have OVR, okay? I've already talked about that a little bit. We have the CDO, Career Development Office through the state. We have adult education, again, the local providers, as well as the state, you know, I represent the state with that now. We have the SITE program, which if you're not familiar about the SITE program, you need to call me or send me an email because they have direct funding opportunities for individuals that are suffering from SUD and OUD. Okay, and that is, when employed correctly, it is amazing. And so you think about it, and I'm going to talk about some success stories in a minute, not yet, but if somebody comes through the door and they need their GED, they are suffering from substance use or they're in recovery, they can qualify for adult ed services, they qualify for SITE services, they qualify for OVR services, and they qualify for behavioral health services. Now, you tell me that you wouldn't want 4 organizations, 4 people working together to help you out. And if you align those resources up in a strategic manner, somebody could essentially be taken care of for a couple months to get their life back on track. And that's amazing, right? So next is, I want to give Samantha a shout out for ID obtainment. She hooked me up with the jailer in Logan County, and we're working on getting some IDs for individuals that are going to be going through her program. And so I'm waiting on some information, but we launched an ID pilot program. Guess what? It's paid for. It's taken care of. I literally a couple of weeks ago walked across the parking lot in Frankfort and picked up a stack of 22 IDs from for Hart County. The next week I walked across the parking lot and I picked up a folder with IDs for people in Rockcastle County. It works. We have it going on, and those people are now, those were adult ed clients and stuff, where they're taking their GED. And previously, and this talks about the retention, if we hadn't have done that, they wouldn't have been able to take their GED test right before the end of the fiscal year, right? So that benefits that organization. So that was one thing that was really huge that we're able to do, and we can pay for it, right? There's funding available for it. We just got to get the right people in the room. So that was something huge that I've really been working on. It all supports just that personal success in individual's life, right? I think we'll go to the next one.
Yeah.
Couple. Yeah, so I want to share a couple of success stories and this is how the process works. And these are really targeted success stories and I want to talk about them because it sheds a light on the process, right? This is not something that's overnight and it can't be, right? The fire that burns too bright, too quick will burn out. So Steve come in through Pudding Kentuckians First in January. He was in recovery, he was unemployed, and he was couch surfing to get by. The dude had a lot of stuff going on. So we were able to start getting involved, and I'll say this, I had nothing to do with it. I've never talked to the guy. This is Jana, 1000%. I always give her a shout out for this. But she was able to work with him and get him aligned to secure transitional housing that was local to Russell County. We got him an ID and employment by February 15th. So that's not a bad turnaround time when you look at the situation he's coming from. So with that, you don't get paid for a couple of weeks most of the time, right? Like I said, I just changed jobs and I didn't get a direct deposit for a month. And I was like, okay, but you think about that. Think about the situation these people are coming in where they already don't have much. And then now they have a lot more stuff going on. So we employed the site program to help fill in those gaps of food, transportation, gas cards, just various different things. On May 16th, he moved into his own apartment and Jana, again, I don't know, she's an interior decorator by night, furnished a bunch of furniture and got people to donate and stuff. And this guy has got an apartment. He's got his life together and he's moving forward being successful. That's a win any way you look at it, right? So I want to talk about the next individual. So James come through, and this was a really good example of how this works as well. So James come through in May and he filled it out for himself, but he was like, well, no, I was actually calling from, I was trying to get information for my son. So we've actually been able to help and assist both him and his son. The son went to the DVOP. He was a veteran, kind of outside of our guys, but we said, look, that's the resources that you need that can really be targeted to help you. But also we assisted him in finding full-time employment. This guy is now working for a company out of Las Vegas. He's got it going on. He's making good money and, he's living his best life. All because, again, Jana, 110%, was able to help him just take a step back and say, look, this is what you got going on. They can tell us everything wrong that's going on. We got to say, hey, this is how we fix it. And we fix it step by step by step. And here's the last one. And this one's actually very important to me. Cheyenne was the last person I arrested when I was working part-time in Casey County. She was my last felony arrest, the last person I lodged in the detention center, the last pretrial, all the things, right? And so I never knew that she was going to come through this 4 years later. So I knew what kind of situation she's in just from our interaction of having to have arrested her. So she was unemployed, in recovery, homeless, and actually had stuff going on in 2 courts. So she was connected with Pudding Kentuckians First. We got her involved with the site program, assisted her with employment, and that's a really quick turnaround, right? We were able to help her get employment in just a very few days. Also was able to get her into the housing situation. They assisted her with, and here again, I talk about the site program, water, electricity, some repairs that needed to be done to make the living situation livable. Jana helped her get a bed, a couch, other household items, because what good is having your own place if you, sleep on the floor, something like that. So make it livable, make it something worth fighting for, right? That's the big thing. That was just a few weeks ago, right? And everything's going smoothly. She's doing what she's supposed to be doing. And she hasn't had to see me yet because I don't know if it would go over well, right? I didn't have the best interaction with her the last time, but that's the thing. And hopefully, and that's why I think what motivates me in this so much is because I have seen the other side of it. I know that she's fully capable of living her best life, and just that continuous involvement in the justice system is not going to get them there, right? So I think we'll go to the next one. I think it's about the wrap up there.
Yeah, no.
So we do have job postings, and I've been very working with John and Brian and Myra. Jana is now the lead navigator, so she's the one that knows everything that I know, and she is my right hand and right arm and right leg to this. But we're hiring 2 positions. We're hiring one for the South Central region that's going to be the person to do all things that Jana does and support this and support you all as organizations in the South Central region. We're also doing one for the East Cumberlands. And, the thing is it works. It's not coming in, like I said, and replacing anything, but it's saying, hey, how can we throw some resources into what you're doing? How can we make it targeted? How can we make sure the right people are getting through there? We know that sometimes somebody will walk through, let's just take career team. If they don't have an ID, career team, not a whole lot that they can do for them. Well, putting Kentuckians first can, and putting Kentuckians first will. I've always said it, and it was a funny joke, but we're like the Backstreet Boys. I don't care where you come from, what you've done, who you are, we're going to help you, and we're going to do our best to do that. We're not held by constraints of any statute, like Senate Bill 90 and some of the other stuff. So we can do whatever we think's best as long as we can make it make sense. And I've gotten really good at that over the last few years. But I'm all about doing the right thing for people, and everything else is going to work out. So we have a strategic plan. We have direction. Those individuals are going to be seated at the workforce board, the local area, because I feel like it's just prudent that somebody doesn't come in and say, hey, I'm from Frankfort and we're going to come in and help. But if they say, hey, I work for the Workforce Development Board, my office is right down here at South Campus, or I live in Glasgow, or I live in Warren County, that's what's going to make the difference. That's going to build these relationships. That's going to give somebody real knowledge of what is going on in those areas, and just help build that relationship up. I'm really going to push very strongly for these individuals to be involved with community organizations and partnership meetings and things like that, because that's how we do what we do, and that's how we do successfully what we do. So I would say this: it's open till July 14th. If you know of somebody that has a heart for this kind of work, that is motivated, that wants to make a difference and would be a good fit, I wish you would send them this link or get them in contact with me or Jana or Brian, because that's what we need. We want somebody that's as passionate, as motivated as we are about it, to do this work. And so I will field questions. I do much better with questions than just getting up here and just talking off the rip. But
I got a question.
Sir.
Do they have to sing Backstreet Boys in the interview? Is that?
They do. If you make a Backstreet Boys reference, you automatically get 10 bonus points. Especially like that. But that's the thing. And I will say this: we have gotten such a broad, I guess, list of applicants, from various backgrounds and stuff. Don't let somebody's background kind of impact it. I was a police officer for many number of years. Never thought I'd be doing this, but here I am, right? Everybody's background is different, and it brings value and add value to this. So any other non-90s boy bands related questions?
Her internet's clogged up right now. I can see it's moving slow. It's giving a message on that computer, so I may not hear well.
I mean, you already sold me, Aaron. But mentioning boy bands, there you go.
See, I knew it. Bill's always on my team. I like it. Being such an AJ right now.
You're working with Becky over there in Laurel.
Yep. Becky, I work with Pulaski, Laurel, Whitley. I'm hiring somebody to be your guy over here. Yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming.
I'll go back to the screen here, because this part on the right side is really where we're keying in on, like, turning it on in the different counties could mean there's varying levels of interaction we could have in the different counties. So this will very much be a job that can travel, but
Yes.
we do expect that it will be very much behind the scenes work.
Yes.
Jana does a lot of work from the phone and coordinating resources that way, but if you have any questions, I would encourage you to reach out to Jana, or if you have somebody in mind. Jana has been doing this job for a while, and so she'd be a great one to ask. But we wanted to give the partners, you know, just this explanation of how this program has evolved and it has transitioned. And it's cool because if you've ever thought, man, things are broken, and like it would just make so much more sense if like somebody could just allow this to happen or that to happen. That's exactly what this position is getting after. Like, say what the barriers are, say who the problem is, because sometimes it's a who, it's not a system, it's a who. And this is, we got accountability all over it to help make sure that there's no dead ends anywhere, and that, like Aaron said, all the tide brings all the ships up. So.
Well, and I'll give you a prime example. This happened yesterday, and I almost hesitate to share this, but I said, oh, we've got 100% going to graduate from this welders training program. Yesterday at 1 o'clock, it was 90%. So the interesting thing is one of our participants, he messed up. He's in jail and he messed up. Okay, he made a stupid choice, which he's been informed about. And they were going to pull him from the training, right? He's 3 days of class from graduation, and they were going to pull him from training. I got a phone call that says, Aaron, they're going to pull this guy from training. And I was like, I'm going to do everything I can to get out in front of it. So I called the jailer on his cell phone right then. And it wasn't we didn't fight about it, but I was like, look at the big picture here. If you want to keep him from going to work release, cool. If you want to stop him from walking the line of graduation all day, you know, whatever, but like 3 days could change his life. Let's not, I mean, if you got to put shackles on him and assign a guard to him, whatever we got to do, but there's got to be another way, right? And not only looking at like the investment part of it, I mean, that would have been $950. That's what the class cost that we just essentially threw to the wayside, that he's done 90% of the class. But I was like, he messed up. Well, we all have made a mistake. We've all done that. I can't tell you how many classes I slept through and stuff in college, you know, like that was the thing. So I was like, come on, give him a break. And thank goodness he said, you know what, you're right. And he was taking the class a little bit tardy yesterday, but he's going to graduate. And that was the thing, you know, sometimes we just need an advocate. Sometimes we just need somebody to pick up the phone and say, look, this is, it might seem like it makes sense, but did he do something that was really that bad? And he didn't. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it was like, okay.
It works the other way too, where, I mean, I can say from adult ed experience, and I think all the adult ed attendees will relate. I mean, people legit give you the runaround.
Mhm.
They will cry victim over anything, on anything that they didn't do, something or somebody stood in their way. But when there's wraparound coaches all knowing the game plan and says, well, I went there, they didn't call me, or nope, they were closed, or this or that, and be like, well, they're not answering their phone. They actually haven't shown up. They told us they couldn't come. You know, like you hear the other side of it. I've always heard, you know, there's two sides to every story and the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? And that's what this is kind of getting at, is that you can't be dodgy. You can't be saying this place didn't work, this place didn't like me, this place wasn't helping me. If everybody's doing their end, then this person has like a perimeter closed that they cannot run outside of that perimeter without somebody knowing about it. And it really, it's aiming for their success. But I think in most cases, people want that embrace, because that's what it's trying to be, is an embrace rather than a threat and a punitive thing. But there are consequences that are going to happen for some of these individuals, especially if they're coming through the jail or the courts or whatever. But yeah, anyway, it's very much an intervention, but team task force approach.
You know, and I don't think I even cited this. We meet every single week. Okay. Jana just got off of the meeting for Barron Metcalf in Hart County, and we meet every single week, and we go through the list and we say, hey, where's this person at? If they're not calling adult ed back, are they contacting their behavioral health provider? Are they contacting the site program? Hey, you need to stoke that fire, tell them they're calling, or go ahead and make the appointment with them, right? Go ahead and do this or that. And that's the big thing too, is every single week we're talking about these individuals and what's best for them and what's going on, or if this person's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. If this partner's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, that's a big thing. Again, that's our target. That's what we're doing. And I see the chat. We're coming to Simpson County, and we can come as soon as we get this person hired over here. But that's it. And we have a very, I don't know, a very rapid expansion plan because this does work. And again, that's just, that's where we're at, and that's what we're about. And I'm very excited to get these individuals hired, and to really be able to start kicking off some stuff.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. I mean, this has been, it's a legacy that you have built. And Aaron was originally hired as a two-part, like two-package deal, and he ended up inheriting the whole thing. So he got two territories and tons of counties and tons of contacts to have to build up, but there's been a lot of promotion that he's had to do to ultimately get this to be out of a special pot of money that our board could access, the same pot of money that John is trying to access for this marketing idea, but that's not permanent funding. It's very much seed money, and we thought there would be different grants over the years that the state was writing or that would activate this, but Adult Ed, thankfully, God love them, right? They just saw the potential with this. And again, GED attainment in jails is a very, very messy thing to do. And there's no two jails that are ever the same where you can replicate the success. Even if you are a multi-county entity like JOTA is with SkyCTC, you can't take what happens in one and replicate it in the other, because it is individual jailers' decision-making on things. It's how much staffing and resources they have. And so simple things, this person needs an ID and they're ready to take the GED test. And they won't get, they need it for a job. If they just had a GED or proof of a diploma, they could work, they could do the release and all this stuff. It's just makes so much sense. So again, we are hiring for it. We'll keep the window open if we have to, but we have had some good solid candidates. But we wanted, again, to tell the partners, this is how it's evolved, this is what's going on, this is what the position will be involved in doing, because this is sort of our position to share with everybody, and do this good work. And it will sort of have a split report to Aaron and the local workforce board. So if it's in the East Cumberlands, it will be to John's counterpart. And if it's the South Central, it will be to me here. And so again, after the meeting, if you've got questions, you want to reach out, you got somebody in mind. We've not thrown a bachelor's degree requirement on the position. We quit doing that with our position several years ago, if we ever did it at all, just because we don't want to limit ourselves. If somebody has had a lot of partnership, experience and things, because that's a skill that is hard to teach, and it's not so much a classroom skill as being able to interface with the partners. And so it's a skill that this position will have to have every day to do the job effectively. So any other thoughts, questions, or feedback for us then? What are the qualifications? So Tammy, if you'll go on our Facebook page, and we can just, we'll just email you. Deronda, if you could write down his email address there, we'll send you the job description, and it is on our Facebook page too. Leslie has put it out. I think we were gonna try to update it and put the salary range on there, and I don't know if that's happened yet or not, but
It's not on there.
it's not on there yet. Okay. So anyway, thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Jana. Appreciate it, guys.
And regarding that pot of money, the process is almost finalized for the updates to that, so I should have news on that soon
Oh, okay. That's great.
for any future projects that y'all are interested in.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have our next meeting on August the 3rd. I've actually asked our data specialist person, workforce participation lead is his formal title, but Josh Zazek will be talking and giving some data. Dana, I think you might have brought this up, but I remember we were asking for ideas, and somebody had said, I think it was Dana, like what's the workforce going to look like and things like that. I don't know that we'll get any predictive stuff, but we will be talking about things that we've been sharing with employers all year long in different counties about the populations of people that are not working. And so Amy, I know you were at that meeting when we did it in Butler County, but we haven't, and Teresa was at it when we did it in Metcalf, but we haven't always had some of the partners present like we told Ed. So we want to share this with everybody to let you guys know. You might be able to take it back to people that control your marketing, or you might say, oh, I've got some ideas on where I want to go to next. Because we're giving demographic data, we're looking in specifically at people that are not working. So if you have ideas for other topics that we could present, we've actually never gone, this is the closest we've ever gone to presenting something a second time, because Aaron presented on the reentry program, but it's probably been a year and a half ago, maybe even longer than that. And so we've been trying not to dip back into the same topics every year. So this will be a different one for us to have a discussion about. We did just a few months ago, or a couple months ago too, have a discussion about being mobile, and had a survey that went out to get your opinions and ideas on where would be good places. I have seen that. Leslie shared that with me recently. We do need to have a follow-up discussion about that too, because it's all about getting in front of people and making our services known to everybody and meeting people where they're at. So I think the Putting Kentuckians First will certainly lend to that. Getting people that don't know about all these great services. So, all right, any other news updates or things to share before we close the meeting? All right, well, thank you guys for your engagement as always, and listening, especially those of you that kept your cameras on the whole time. If you're able to, we appreciate that. All right, guys, have a great rest of your week. Thanks so much.
Bye, everybody.
And you realize that Brian, he's like, yeah, I don't know why this.
What about those that only had our cameras on part of the time?